So some of the challenges that you have with implementing data governance here is that, like these projects often have many, moving people and many moving parts. So you want to get them to collaborate. Data documentations and decisions are often distributed, and there's disparate versions with multiple owners of these documents. Training on the data and building reports is often neglected to the last minute. It needs to be done quickly and efficiently. This is a very common thing that happens with these projects, is that you focus on the technical aspects and don't worry about the data pieces and the reports until the end. And that can cause problems. There's lack of effective reporting or data quality can undermine trust in any new system. So this is another challenge. Like when you, this is a very common thing. People will roll out a new, ERP system, and they'll have it up and working, and then people start running reports off of it. And it actually could be that they've got everything set up correctly, but if the reports coming out don't match, what they used to have, or they don't understand them well enough, and there's some inconsistencies there, that it can create an immediate distrust and lack of adoption for the new system. Because even though the system's data might actually be good, and it's just if the transparency and visibility into that data isn't good, it doesn't really matter, right? Because the perception is it's not working. And as I sort of mentioned before, the other challenge is that if you are doing a whole bunch of new report development and you've got distributed report development work, it can lead to lots of duplicated and inconsistent work because there's so much crossover in most of the reports. So being able to have a centralized repository where people can see and understand what other work has been done, at a glossary level, on the definitional levels, and on report levels, so that they are not building from scratch. And if they're building something that uses sort of the same glossary term, that they sort of see how that's defined, see how that was used in the other report, and create the consistency to both save time and create value. So those are the challenges. Some of the opportunities here, as I mentioned, a major implementation or migration is a rare opportunity where you need to evaluate and touch all of your data and reports. So don't miss that opportunity to create a knowledge base for the long term. Secondly, like the documentation of these reports and these data definitions in your business glossary as you go is a rare opportunity to get a full and robust data governance knowledge base. Right? So if you are going to document these things, putting them in a knowledge base so that they're available in the future is important. So that's like creating the documentation, as opposed not just making these decisions, but creating the documentation is important. And these projects also tend to involve most of the same stakeholders that would be on a data governance committee. So it's a good opportunity to create those relationships and processes. So I'm not trying to say here that you have to have like a perfectly mature data governance stewardship, committee and organization. What we're trying to say here is that you want to have some of the activities of data governance occur in a way to, involve people and to create long-lasting, rapid decisions and then long-lasting knowledge after the fact. And oftentimes when people do these things, they set up these committees and organizations around the implementation that are sort of operational. And those people become, they might not, if you sort of give them governance tasks, even if they don't even know exactly that they are governance tasks, can become, can really set the stage for having very powerful stewards moving forward. Right, so the return that you get on this is that more efficient work, you reduce rework, you reduce duplicated work, more accurate results, right? If you have sort of bring in the subject matter experts to define things, to get good requirements, to make decisions and approvals as things are being built rather than after the fact, you're going to get better results. More trust in the data, because there's, first of all, it's going to be better, but also there's documentation and transparency. So if when someone turns on the application and starts getting reports out of it and they say, this doesn't look right, I don't understand it, there may be valid contextual reasons why that data is different than what was in the previous system. Maybe you only decided to migrate 3 of the last 3 years, and so the trends are going to be different, or you've changed some coding or whatever it might be. If you can justify and explain that to the person, you're going to get trust. If you can't, if you don't have that information, if you've lost that knowledge, maybe the person that did that was a contractor, or they've left, or this question has come up a year later and you don't know why that is, then you've lost trust. And again, all this helps create knowledge for the future. So the kind of old school phrase for this is measure twice, cut once, right? You want to make sure that the first time that you're doing this, that you're getting good requirements, that you agree on everything, and then you only have to the way to save time on this is that you're really only having to build it once. There's not a lot of rework from that.